Unfiltered, everybody. Another big win for your fighting Phils last night on the road in Cincinnati, down in the eighth. No problem. The comeback kids do it again, winning their 30th game of the year, coming from behind. Pretty damn good. They're now 20 games over 500, 69 and 49, 6 games up in the NL East on the New York Mets. And Ricky Bo, is it time that we start to acknowledge that not only is this a good baseball team, but dare I say, a really good manager?
He's doing a really nice job. I mean, the one thing you have to understand is that we're out here kind of looking in, and we don't have the full grasp of the team, no matter how close to the team we are, unless you're in that clubhouse. He's got a really good feel of when guys are playing at 100%, when he sees things starting to click. The fundamentals are very good. And I hate to say this, this has not been all about Bryce Harper. This has not been all about Nick Castellanos. What it's been about is these guys that we weren't sure should even be at the big league level. Weston Wilson last night, a big hit. Edmundo Sosa, a big hit last night. And what did they do? They flipped the lineup. You know what's funny? I've been bringing this up for how long, Bill? Till I've been blue in the face talking about the bottom of the lineup and how much it means to a team. Rob Thomson has admitted it last night during postgame. Trey Turner admitted that these guys at the bottom of the lineup are the ones doing the job. You know what? Credit everywhere, but Rob Thomson is kind of stuck with these guys when I think a lot of people, maybe even including myself, would have bailed on a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's hard not to look at the job Rob Thomson has done and not give him his props, because I tweeted this out last night. Like, I've been critical of Rob Thomson when I felt like it was deserving at times, but I do think that there's a lot of fans, and I may be guilty of this as well, where maybe sometimes we go over the top in our criticism of him because it's easy to point to the manager when a player's struggling, or it's easy to point to the manager when he goes to the bullpen and that guy comes out and doesn't deliver. But when you really look at the job this guy's done, with everything that the Phillies have battled this season, from injuries to slumps to start the season with a lot of guys, to guys just underperforming, to free agent signings being disasters with Jordan Romano and Max Kepler, who have both kind of turned it around recently, which is great. But you look at all of these factors, to be sitting here 20 games over 500, first place in the NL East, second best odds to win the damn World Series, it's really hard not to give the guy his props. And I think if you are still one of the Rob Thomson haters, then you're simply that. I think you're just hating and not looking at it objectively. He's done a really nice job.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, when you think about it, you're talking about a 162-game season, which is a long, long season. I mean, basically, it's taken up 7 months of the year. And you're sitting out there thinking to yourself, okay, this guy's not doing his job, he's got to go. This guy's not doing his job, he's got to go. And what Rob Thomson does, and I think this really kind of plays well in the clubhouse, because when I used to play, it wasn't like this. When you are going bad, Rob Thomson sticks with his players. He gives them an opportunity to be better, every single one of them. And I'm not just talking about one player. You think about a guy like Brandon Marsh. I don't believe Marsh was actually hurt early on in the season. I think that was a send-down just to get him kind of going in the right direction, which it worked one way or the other. But, I mean, he will always stick with you. If these guys are coming up from minor leagues, as we've seen Otto Kemp, we've seen Weston Wilson. What does he do with these guys? He plays them. He puts them in positions to try to make them better, to try to have them have success. That's something that the players will respond to nowadays. Back in the day, you had a bad month, guess what? You're gone. You're out.
He certainly showed patience with this team, and they've rewarded him. And I said it was their 30th comeback win of the season. That's the 6th most in all of Major League Baseball. Well, after the game last night, Rob Thomson was asked about what makes this team such a resilient group. Listen to Rob Thomson.
But I think this club is so resilient. They never believe that they're out of a game, and they just keep fighting. That's what I love about them.
So let me ask you, Ricky, because he says they're a resilient group. They just keep fighting. They never believe they're out of the game. Is that a real thing? Like when you were playing in the MLB, like is that a real thing, or is every team still trying to win games late?
I think everybody's still trying to win games. I've been on real crappy teams at times. It wasn't like we were going out there trying to lose. As a matter of fact, they used to call it a contract drive. You know, the last month of the season, if you're struggling, you're not going to be in the playoffs.
Earn that contract.
It's time for you to earn your contract now and not kind of go under the rug and pretend that nothing's going on. I mean, it was I will say this much. It got to a point, there was a couple of years with the Phillies, it got to a point where it was so miserable that, like, you're almost on your own. You're almost on an island by yourself. That's what it felt like at times when you're going bad in a season. It's just one of those things where it is still a job and you have to do your job. If you're not doing your job, there was a chance back then you're not coming back or you're going to be DFA'd or whatnot. So you always wanted to finish up strong so you have some kind of confidence, maybe even momentum going into the following season.
And you look at this team, for whatever reason, they've seemed to really turn it on against teams' bullpens, not so much against the starting rotations, which results in a lot of comeback wins, I guess. But one of the things as we're talking about Rob Thomson is, of late, it seems like every button this guy's pushing is the right one. So last night they give you another outfield configuration with Weston Wilson in left, Harrison Bader in center, Nick Castellanos in right. Ricky's talking about the bottom of the lineup coming through. You got 2 hits from Edmundo Sosa, who was in that game last night. Weston Wilson with a big hit in that game gets driven home by Trey Turner in that 8th inning. And Rob Thomson was asked post-game about all these buttons he's pushing being right, and, of course, he gives the modest response. But here was Rob.
Well, I mean, it's a good problem to have because these guys are playing well right now. We got a lot of talent, so I don't necessarily say they're pushing the right buttons. I think they're just playing well.
See, I think he's being modest here, man. He has hit all the right buttons over the last few weeks.
Rob will never take credit for anything. I think you have to really understand that when he talks. He rarely, if they point at him and say, you did a great job tonight, he would say, no, it wasn't me, it was the players. You know, so-and-so had a good game. This guy had a good game. But, I mean, he's the one that has kept faith in these players. Yes, it is the players on the field doing the job. But think about this for a second. It was the top of the 8th, and the Phillies had nothing going on last night. Bottom of the order coming up, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, Bader strikes out, Kemp strikes out. You're like, oh, another terrible inning. You know, who is their closer? You start thinking, who are we going to see in the 9th? Well, next thing you know, single, double, all of a sudden you turned over the lineup. That was the definition of what I was talking about, turning over the lineup so they could do more damage, and Turner ends up with that single to left, and there was an error on that play, another run scores, and then, of course, Schwarber. Are you kidding me? Guy is a beast.
He is a beast.
But
and
that's what I talk about, flipping the lineup.
But unfortunately, Schwarber's doing it in his home park, so now there's all rumors that he's going to go back to Cincinnati.
You know what, though? But the other rumor I heard was that John Middleton will not let him go due to money. So it will not be money.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. And we'll talk a little bit more about Schwarber coming up because Rob Thomson had a lot of great things to say about him post-game. I mean, it just everything you hear about Kyle Schwarber, it's not only the numbers that he's producing, it's what he does in that clubhouse, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm curious where people are going to weigh in on this because we started the show and we're talking about, does Rob Thomson deserve a little bit more credit for the job that he's done this season? He's not only gotten you to the postseason every year that he's been manager in 22, 23, and 24, but now he's managed this team to a first place, 6 games up in the NL East. They're 20 games over 500. And you look at this team, they've battled a lot of issues this year. I mean, you had injuries to Harper. You had injuries to Alec Boehm. Hopefully he's coming back soon. Injuries to Aaron Nola. Jordan Romano was a mess in the back end of that bullpen. You didn't have Ranger Suarez to start the year. Taiwan Walker's been in and out of the starting. Taiwan Walker was incredible last night.
He looked awful in the first couple innings.
And then he battled.
His numbers, I was like, what are the Reds doing in the 4th inning? They had 62 pitches on this guy, and they go up there and make 3 outs and 9 pitches.
And then he gets through 6 innings, only gives up 1 earned. Pretty incredible.
11 ground ball outs.
Yeah, Taiwan Walker, pretty incredible. But again, that goes to the job Rob Thomson has done, giving these guys confidence, sticking with these guys, showing patience. Look, I've criticized Rob Thomson before. I'm here to say right now he is doing a great job managing this baseball team. And if you're not going to acknowledge it, I think you're just a Rob Thomson hater. But I'm curious where fans are going to weigh in on that. Does Rob Thomson deserve more credit for the job he's done this season? Hit us up on the text board, 610-632-0975. But coming up, I want to introduce our Twitter poll because I'm really curious where fans are going to weigh in on this. We're talking about the Phillies. There's 44 games left in the season. Obviously, the goal is to win the World Series. Eagles are in training camp. They start their joint practices tomorrow. Andrew DeCecco will be joining us at 4 o'clock for the remainder of the show. A lot to talk to him about as it pertains to the Eagles. But I want to relate the Phillies and the Eagles in our Twitter poll, and I'm really curious where people are going to weigh in on this. We'll get to that coming up right after this. This is Unfiltered, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia.